1 Corinthians 2:2, I cited earlier, "For I resolved to know nothing while I was with you except Jesus Christ and Him crucified." That was Paul's response. Now in this passage in 1 Corinthians 2, the Apostle Paul talks about three different responses, or three different types of people and how they respond to this message. And today, sitting in here, probably there's a representation of any one of these three. The first one is what he calls, or perhaps I call, is a natural response. A natural response to Jesus Christ dying for our sin, and that we have sin in our life that needs to be cleansed, and He comes and cleanses us. He doesn't just cover us, He cleanses us and makes us righteous before God. You try to reason that out with human reasoning and philosophy and what the world gives you through science, you'll go nuts. You won't be able to reason it out. It won't work for you. And yet the Apostle Paul says there's people that try to reason it out. I don't need God in my life. He's a crutch for others. I'll be okay. I'm better than so-and-so and not as good as such and such, but I'll just take my chances. That's reasoning it out. We can also have the second category is a carnal response. Paul said there's a carnal response. What's a carnal Christian? A carnal Christian is not somebody that doesn't know Christ. In fact, they've made a decision to follow Christ, but they do not allow Christ to get involved in any of their life decisions. You ever been around someone like that? You know that they go to church. If you'd ask them, they would say, well, yes, I believe in Christ. But you never hear any conversation, you never see any action, you never see them talking about what it means to follow Christ. But if you would ask them, they would say, yes, I do follow Christ. That's a carnal Christian. That they have problems come up, and instead of going to God, say, God, help me, they try to reason it out themselves. They try to fix it on their own way and own terms without inviting God in. That's a carnal Christian. Yes, they know Christ, but they're trying to fix everything on their own. The third response that we can have is a spiritual response. A spiritual response. When was the last time you thought about that if you have Jesus, you have access to the mind of Jesus, which is the mind of God? It's pretty profound, isn't it, to think about the access that we have and the little that we tap into at times, that we just neglect. Sometimes it's out of not knowing, and other times it's just out of not slowing down enough to say, wait a minute, God, where are we going? And making course correction along the line.